Hello everyone, tonight on the program, Ghana's economy expands by 3.9% in the second quarter of this year, according to provisional figures from the Ghana Statistical Service. We'll hear from the government statistician.
Essentially, as I indicated, is the contraction in the oil and gas of about 10.7% that led to the 3.9. Otherwise, would have seen a much bigger growth for the second quarter of 2021.
Also coming up tonight, President Akufo-Addo charges ministries for railway development and finance to fast-track completion of railways along the eastern and western corridors to aid bauxite mining.
The development of our nation's railway infrastructure will be vital. I've thus directed the Ministers for Railway Development and Finance to work together to accelerate the realization of our Western and Eastern railway lines railway network.
Plus, Valley View University to host first edition of the Joy Business Campus Roadshow this Friday. We will have a look ahead coming up on Business Live tonight. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Details right after these. Well, first up tonight, Ghana's economy expanded by 3.9% in the second quarter of this year, according to provisional figures from the Ghana Statistical Service. This gross domestic product growth rate was driven by a strong pickup in the services and agri sectors. The health and social work, information and communication technology, hotel and restaurants, as well as fishing subsectors expanded significantly. The industrial sector, however, contracted by 4.3%. There is more in this report.
This growth is a significant jump from the rate recorded in the previous quarter, as well as same time last year when the economy contracted by 5.7%. The current growth rate, driven by over 11 percentage points in the services sector, is attributed to activities in trade and communication technology.
And the growth that we saw in the services sector was largely driven by health and social work that grew by 22% on a year-on-year basis, but because it has a relatively lower share compared to trade, repairs of vehicles and household goods, they contributed more to the 11% that we saw in the services sector. So the two main subsectors in the services sector that drove the 11% growth that we saw in the services sector were trade, repair of vehicles and household goods, and information and communication, although their year-on-year change was relatively smaller than what we saw in health and social work.
The contraction in the industrial sector has been consistent since the outbreak of the pandemic, although it grew marginally in the first quarter of the year. Agriculture followed the services sector with a 5.5% growth. Professor Kobuna Inim hinted that, but for the contraction in the extractive sector, the economy could have performed better than the 3.9%.
Essentially, as I indicated, is the contraction in the oil and gas of about 10.7% that led to the 3.9. Otherwise, would have seen a much bigger growth for the second quarter of 2021. The main source of the slow growth, that is the 3.9, was driven by oil and gas. So if you're talking about non-oil GDP, then services 11% and agri 5.5% would really have pushed the growth rate much higher than 3.9.
When seasonally adjusted, Ghana's raw GDP increased by 0.9% in the quarter.
Now, President Akufo-Addo has charged the ministries of railway development and finance to fast-track the completion of railways along the eastern and western corridors to aid bauxite mining and accrue more earnings for the country. According to him, the success of bauxite mining depends on good railway network. President Akufo-Addo disclosed this at the signing ceremony of Project 2 of the Integrated Aluminum Industry Development between the Ghana Integrated Aluminum Development Corporation and Rockshore International Limited, a company in the mining value chain.
Ghana has substantial deposits of bauxite in regions of Ejuanema, Yinehi, and Kibi, but most of them remain unexploited. However, the country is currently putting measures in place to increase bauxite mining activities. President Akufo-Addo believes the success will depend on a good railway network, hence charging the ministries for railway development and finance to speed up the completion of railways along the eastern and western corridors.
The vision of building an integrated aluminum industry is very important to us all, and particularly dear to me, given the significant transformational impact it will have on the development of our economy and the considerable potential it has for wealth creation. It is at the heart of our industrial transformation agenda. The execution of 4 projects in Awaso, Yinehin, Pasaso, and Chebi will lead to the creation of business ventures that will see us reducing our reliance on the import of aluminum products and enable us to develop employment and high-paying jobs for our people. They will also ensure integration and value addition across the bauxite aluminum value chain. If we are to be successful in this venture, the development of our nation's railway infrastructure will be vital. I've thus directed the Ministers for Railway Development and Finance to work together to accelerate the realization of our Western and Eastern railway lines railway network. The port infrastructure necessary to efficient operations for exportation of bulk items has to be developed in tandem, as we seek to do in the Buankra Inland Port Project.
Meanwhile, mining of bauxite in the country will require about $6 billion investments from the private sector. That's according to the chief executive of the Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation, Michael Ansa. He indicated that though the expected amount is one of the audacious industrial programs, he believes it will be utilized properly to fully achieve the exploitation of bauxite reserves and prioritize value addition for both local and international markets.
The projects ensure the full utilization of the bauxite reserves that we have across 3 key locations: in Awaso in the Western North region, in Yinehin and in Pasaso in the Ashanti region, and in Chebi in the Eastern region. These projects uniquely underline our overriding goal of value addition, which is at the core of what GIADEC is all about. The 4 projects together will require private sector-led investments up to $6 billion, making this one of the most ambitious, indeed audacious, industrial development programs since our independence.
GIADEC officially launched the Integrated Aluminium Industry Projects yesterday. The projects include expansion of existing mine at Awaso, development of mines at Yinehi and Pasaso and Chebi, as well as the modernization and expansion of the Valco smelter in Tema.
Well, still staying here, the Deputy Minister for Railway Development, Kweku Asante-Boateng, has charged the newly constituted board of the Ghana Railway Development Authority to remain loyal to the move by the president to revamp the sector. According to him, the sector is witnessing many new projects and will need the support of the board to deliver the needed infrastructure. Mr. Asante-Boateng made the request after the swearing in of the 11-member board of the Ghana Railway Development Authority.
All of us working as a team should bring our experiences over the years to bear on our responsibility as the governing board of the authority, so that together we shall be able to steer the affairs of the authority. So our key words, or the key words that I want to leave with the board is commitments. And in our work also, we must work diligently. We should be hardworking because it's a new process. We're doing a lot of development and we need hard work. And like I said, we have to be loyal to the board, to our nation, Ghana, so that at the end of it all, we shall be able to achieve laurels.
So the board is chaired by health economist and lecturer at the University of Health and Allied Sciences, Dr. Martin Amogwe Ayanore. Now, some news coming through to us. The Registrar General's Department has served notice to the business community and the general public that it would end its validation of dormant companies at the end of September 2021. The exercise was to validate dormant companies which adhered to the directive of the Registrar of Companies to file their annual returns with the department or risk being delisted from the company's register. In a statement, the Registrar General said companies that could not file their annual returns before the June 30 deadline for any reason were urged to take advantage and comply during the validation period, which commenced on the 1st of July 2021. These dormant companies were public-private companies listed by shares, public or private companies limited by guarantee, that's associations, fan clubs and churches, etc., and private unlimited companies as well as external companies. It goes on to say companies are required by the Companies Act 2019, Act 992, to update their records and file their financials with the Registrar General 18 months after incorporation and at every financial year, whether the company was in business operation or not. Goes on to say companies due for the strike-off still in default after end of September 2021 would be published in the national dailies and the department's website. A company's status at this period would be classified as being inactive and would not be able to be accessed for any business transaction for the next 12 years except by a court order to the department for reinstatement to good standing in the company's register. All right, so that statement there from the Registrar General's Department. You're watching Business Live. Still to come, fashion startup Leather on Call is creating a marketplace for cock products. Today on the Joy Business Van, we'll engage founder Stephen Che Sapong. That story coming up after this break. Time to bring you the Joy Business Van tonight. Now, fashion startup Leather on Call is doing much more than manufacturing accessories. It is creating a marketplace for Cork products to show the world that our everyday fashion choices can have a positive impact on the environment. The Joy Business Van tonight engages CEO of Leather on Call, Stephen Chase Sapong, who is promoting the Cork culture.
Hello, Joy Business Van. My name is Stephen Chase Sapong. Welcome to Leather on Call Limited.
Leather on Call started as an importer of leather accessories.
So predominantly, we started from sourcing leather materials or leather products from India to sell in Ghana through our online shops. All right, so basically, that's how Leather on Call started.
While Stephen imported the leather products, his interest in making fashion accessories locally grew.
So I remember getting a cobbler from Kumasi and we're like, boss, you can start with one sewing machine, you can start with one grinding machine, but trust me, I sat down, read more about it, and trust me, it was a whole lot of things, you know, from rent of office spaces, getting machineries, and getting the craftsmen as well. It was so difficult from that stage, but it was a gradual process, you know.
Gradually, Stephen got a hold of things and was soon producing his own accessories. Leather on Call began to catch the eye of the public with these customized leather products. But as Leather on Call grows, Stephen has become more conscious about using sustainable materials to make his products. Not surprising because of his background as an environmentalist.
For you to get a single leather sheet, trust me, a cow needs to be killed, or a horse needs to be killed, or crocodile needs to be killed, and all that. So from that educational background point of view, as I've always had that sustainability environmental bit part of me in every decision I make. Let them put it that way. So we can say that at an average shoe, synthetic latest foam or whatever the insoles cost about 20% material of a shoe. The rest is pure leather. So imagine how many cows or many animals you have to unskin to do shoes.
Stephen then started experimenting with the use of cork materials for his fashion accessories. Cork is formed from the bark of a cork oak tree. One of the most famous uses of cork is in making cork crowns. You'll notice that most wine bottles use a cork as a plug.
I get them from hotels and restaurants, and the part of last year, it was very difficult for me sourcing them. I ended up, I had to source some of them for my frames, for instance. I used the stoppers, cut them and frame them very nicely using the recycled pallets, container pallets to do the framing on that. But to turn it in a sheet form, it's also requires a lot of work, and even sourcing the material itself is also very difficult. So I think that's the only challenge in using the cork material for our products.
Stephen uses the cork materials for just about anything: shoes, slippers, wallets, bags, book covers. The use of cork has distinguished him from others in the business of producing fashion accessories. He says patronage is also very impressive as the public begins to appreciate eco-friendly products. Leather on Call's products are now 70% cork, 30% leather.
Actually, user-friendly. You can wash it. You can easy to dry. You cannot do that to leather because leathers are dyed, you know, to black, to brown, to coffee or whatever. But cork comes in its real natural state, which makes it more sustainable, more user-friendly.
Leather on Call is taking its eco-friendly business to a new level. It started making gift items with the use of recycled materials like pallets. That aspect of the business is also catching on, boosted by social media.
We are growing. We are growing steadily, and as rightly said, all the various channels help us to also get to the international market as well. Currently, we do shipments to UK, we do Netherlands, we do Canada, and Liberia. So it has not been bad. We will be getting calls. We will be getting that kind of positive feedback of, you know, they wanting more of us. All right. So we are taking it at a very good pace.
Well, so the next time you purchase a bottle of wine, don't be too quick to throw the cork away. It can be recycled into something useful, like Leather on Call does. And as we wrap up tonight, we want to tell you about an exciting event coming up. This Friday, the Valley View University will host the first edition of the Joy Business Campus Roadshow. The Joy Business Campus Roadshow is an outreach program that seeks to enable tertiary students access formal sources of career guidance in order to help them make the right occupational choices. And you see there, those who are going to be handling that program coming up, the first of this kind, on the University, Valley View University campus, OEB, on Friday, the 17th of September, 2021, time 10 a.m. To 12 noon. Okay, more news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks for watching, everyone. Business Live returns same time tomorrow.